What's going on, everybody? Good afternoon. Hope you guys are doing better than I am. Still sick, obviously, but we got to push through, and we got some pretty important stuff to talk about today. I want to go ahead and start opening up the conversation about extensions for some of our young superstars that are now eligible for a second contract. So we're going to start with Devon Witherspoon. I think he's the most obvious one. He's the most obvious extension candidate. And this is kind of unprecedented or uncharted territory for the Seahawks because they typically do not extend when they don't have to. They typically wait. But I think that this is clearly a circumstance where you don't want to wait. So I believe and I hope that this team will extend Devon Witherspoon this offseason. But let's talk about the mechanics of an extension here. So let's look at Devon Witherspoon's current deal. All right, guys, before we go any further into the video, I want to take a minute to tell you guys about my friends over at Sleeper. Sleeper is a one-stop shop for all your sports needs. Download the app to your phone. You can celebrate and chat about sports in real time with other users. You can get scores, news, and alerts with blazing fast speed. And you can play in daily fantasy leagues and win real money on picks contests. So enjoy sports together. Download Sleeper today, and don't forget to use my promo code SBN for up to a $100 match on your first deposit. Plus, they currently have a free $20 entry, no deposit required, just make an account. Terms and conditions do apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently operational in over 25 states and growing. So check out Sleeper and have fun with sports this year. All right, so this is where things can get a little bit confusing, so try to follow me through here. So Devon Witherspoon, when he was drafted, signed a 4-year contract with the Seattle Seahawks. 4 years, which means he has 1 year left on that contract, right? He has 1 year left at a cap hit of 10.1 million approximately. So a relatively tame cap hit for 2026. 10.1. Now, here's the first thing I want to talk about. This cap hit, even if we extend Witherspoon, is not likely to change. And if it does change, it's not going to change by that much, or at the very least, it doesn't have to. So let me jump out in front of that right now. This extension is not going to wreck our cap for the 2026 season. In fact, it's unlikely to have a meaningful effect on it at all. So don't worry about that. An extension affects the cap down the line in future years. Now, we have that 1 year left at 10.1. There's also the 5th-year option, which we can pick up on Devon Witherspoon if we want to. So basically, what the 5th-year option is that any player that is selected in the first round has a 5th year appended to the end of their contract that the team can choose to activate after their 3rd season. So during this offseason, the Seahawks can choose whether or not to activate that 5th year option. And the amount of the 5th year option is partially dictated by what the player did in their career. So in this case, you can see that Devon Witherspoon has made multiple Pro Bowls in his career. So therefore, his 5th year option is maxed out at 21.4 million. You can see it over there on the right side of the screen, 21.4. So it would be a lot. Now, what you might see happen is the Seahawks activate the 5th year option, and then they extend Witherspoon on the back end of the 5th year option. That's what the Texans did with Derek Stingley. Teams do that all the time, and it's just part of the reward you get for taking a player in the first round. Now, you don't have to do it, but I do think this team will probably choose to do it if they can, because the 5th year option, as much as it is still going to be less than the average annual value of the extension by a wide, wide margin. So, 5th year option, 21.4. And then you start thinking about what an extension might look like from there. Now, I'm just going to say it. I don't see how Witherspoon doesn't reset the market. Witherspoon has made 3 Pro Bowls in his career. He has been the top corner on the top defense in the league, a team that just won the Super Bowl. He's the number one graded corner in the league by Pro Football Focus. I don't see any way he doesn't reset the market. He is going to get the new record-setting cornerback contract. And you take a look at what that would be. Currently, the high watermark is Sauce Gardner, formerly the Jets, now the Colts, who signed a $30.1 million per year deal with, I think it was the Jets, and then he got traded. So 30.1 is the current high watermark. I think we're going up to about 31. So what I would like to see is a 4-year deal worth $124 million. That is $31 million per year. That's the market. Doesn't set the market to a crazy extent, and is something I think you can feel good about as a player and as a team. Now, remember that stuff I said earlier about it not really affecting the cap all that much? Just to give an example of that, let's go look at Pat Surtain, who is another corner that was drafted very high and became a great player for the team that drafted him, the Denver Broncos. Right? Okay, so Pat Surtain, he gets his rookie deal, which is obviously pretty lucrative, and then he gets extended a few years ago to a very lucrative extension. At that time, it was like 4 years, 96 million, which was setting the market. And this is just to prove my point here. Look at the cap hits that his contract had even after the extension. Like 2021, less than 4, 2022, less than 5, 2023, less than 6. And then 2024, you do see a slight acceleration to almost 10, but you're still not seeing a massive cap hit acceleration here. And even in the 5th year of his career, his cap hit is actually very tame because that's how the Broncos structured it. So when I say that the team does not have to wreck their current cap to extend Devon Witherspoon, this is what I'm talking about. Pat Surtain was kind of the Devon Witherspoon of that era, in the sense that he was the young, up-and-coming candidate for maybe best corner in the league at the time he got his extension. So you can look at Pat Surtain, you can project a little bit for inflation, but you are kind of getting the same basic structure in terms of how you have to do the extension. And you can see the cap hits don't really start to explode until you get into this upcoming year, which for Surtain is going to be year 6. And then things get out of hand pretty quickly. But the point I'm trying to make is that you do not have to really affect your cap space now because of an extension that doesn't kick in for a couple of years. You can actually see something relatively similar here with Derek Stingley, the former high watermark corner before he got surpassed by Sauce Gardner. But the cap hits relatively tame those first 4 years, and then they start to accelerate very quickly in the latter half, the 5th-year option year and then the extension years. So what I'm trying to say is that I don't believe that this cap hit number is going to change post-extension. It's 10.1 right now. I think it'll still be 10.1 or right around there after the extension. And I think there's a pretty good chance that this number will not change too if they choose to use it, the 21.4. And then it'll just be 4 years at 31 per after those 2 years. So don't worry about the 2026 or even really the 2027 cap. I don't think that's going to be radically changed from current projections. However, there are a couple of things to consider. For one, this team can afford to take on bigger cap hits now, so maybe they can choose to structure the extension in a way to load up the money, money taken out of the cap in the present years. That's one thing to think about. They could just choose to, because as an NFL team, you have a lot of freedom in how you can choose to structure a contract, and the player doesn't really care that much as long as they're getting guarantees. Now, there is one other element at play here, and that is the length of the contract. Like I said, I would like to do 4 years, 124 million. But here's the thing. If you use the 5th-year option and you've still got the 1 year left on the deal for 2026, and then you're putting another 4 years on the end of those 2 years, That means Devon Witherspoon won't be a free agent for 6 years, and he won't really be able to come to the negotiation table for an extension for 5 years. Now, Devon Witherspoon right now is 26 years old. He might go, I don't want to wait until I'm 31 to come back to the table. I want to get back to the table when I'm 30. That's what a lot of players like to do. They want to be able to negotiate a new extension as quickly as possible because if they're still playing at that high level, they can get more money quicker and they can maybe not reset the market again, but push the value of their deal up significantly because the cap goes up. So therefore, what you might be looking at is a situation where Witherspoon goes, if you guys use the 5th-year option, I only want a 3-year deal. That's what happened with Derek Stingley, right? Derek Stingley got a 3-year deal worth $90 million, so $30 million per, partially because I think he wants to get back to the table to negotiate another extension a year faster. Whereas most of these other corners that are at the top, they got 4 years. Sauce Gardner, J.C. Horn. So I would like to be able to give Devon Witherspoon 4 years, $124 million. However, it may end up that he's only willing to go 3 years, 93. So therefore, if that is the way it plays out, that's okay too. I'm not going to sweat that too much. That just means he'll want an extension in 4 years. And if he's still playing really well, then I'll be happy to give it to him. But that is the one thing that I think could really change this. I think the monetary amount I have is about right. I don't think he's going to be able to completely destroy the cornerback market because remember, he has the 1 year left on the rookie deal and he has the 5th-year option. So he wants to get extended now to secure that long-term money. So there's incentive for him too. However, if you wait until next offseason, 2027, then there's less incentive for him to give you a break. There might be another corner that's broken the market beyond Sauce Gardner, and you might be looking at like 35 million per year. I think that the market could accelerate significantly between now and next year. So I'm trying to get Devon Witherspoon a $31 million per year contract now. And if he gives me a little bit of a break from that, then great, but I'm not really expecting it. And I'm cool with it. If we can get Devon Witherspoon 31 million per year for the remainder of his prime, plus the 2 much cheaper years, the 5th-year option and the current year, we're doing very well for ourselves. Now, I don't know what the guarantees are going to look like. You can see that the amount guaranteed on these various contracts varies pretty wildly. It'll probably be like half of it gets guaranteed. I'm not too worried about it. It doesn't really make a big difference to me. I'm not worried about Devon Witherspoon getting paid and deciding he doesn't care about football anymore. I'm not worried about him becoming washed up really quickly. Maybe he won't have the longest career ever because he is a smaller guy and he does play very physically, but I don't think that's going to be a problem for a while. He's 26, and I think that the mileage you get out of him for the next 4 or 5 years is still going to be really, really strong. So that is my final answer. Devon Witherspoon, 4 years, 124 million after the 5th-year option. You may have to settle for 3 years, 93 million. Either way, I'm cool with it. I think he's worth it. I think he's earned it. And I want to get this done now. All right. So let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you guys have a different perspective here. I don't think he's going to go lower than 31. I don't know why he would when you look at the way that Stingley and Sauce got paid. And I don't think he's going to go radically above it. I don't know why the team would be motivated to do that. If he's asking for the moon, you can always just say, okay, we're going to have you play out your 4th and 5th year on the rookie deal. If you want to take that risk, go ahead. So it's a good compromise. All right, so that is my stance on the Witherspoon extension, hoping for 5th-year option plus 4 years, 124 million. See you guys later. Go Hawks. Let me know what you think down below, and more stuff soon.